you that may not have heard about Valerie and her wonderful husband, Mike, she is the Mother Teresa of what we do.
So this brings me to the piece, and I know that I'm just yammering too long here, but this is how we approach death, is this kind of courtship that we speak of death as a courtship and living into the consciousness, awakening that consciousness of death. And this is, that's John Paul Taylor, and he just got a hand from, I don't know how I did that. That's fabulous. He would love that. John Paul died after the raid. We took care of him in our homes. One of our board members opened his home, and John was a remarkable guy. He could fix anything, and he did. He fixed a lot for many of us. This is John Bowers, and John had cancer, and he died shortly after the raid, about 3 months after. He had advanced cancer, and he told me that he really couldn't die until his caregiver, Jackie, got back from her vacation, because it really had to be all right with her that he died. And, you know, this is so much a part of how we live our lives and how we live our deaths, is how it's all right with the people that we love, how they allow this to be okay with them and allow us to die. Plus, dying's a long process. I mean, we make cells all the time. It takes a long time to convince the body to stop making them. So if you imagine that you have the opportunity to progress into your death, that if you presume that you're going to not have sudden death, but that you're going to, that death will approach slowly, then you have this great, in my belief, you have this great opportunity to embrace it and to not run from the Grim Reaper, but to turn around and begin this courtship, to face her and to take her even as your lover, and to do this dance that's so remarkable. And my experience after 26 years, friends and family members that have died, is that marijuana can open the door. People tell me this, that it allows them to accept something that wasn't so easy to accept before. They shifted their consciousness, just shifted it. So, mostly I spend a lot of time sitting by people when they're dying, and it's a great honor to be asked to come in and mostly shut up, not advise, and as Ram Dass always says to me, don't take your expectation with you, because you don't know how it should be for somebody who's dying. You don't know what their level of pain is, you don't know what it should look like, and you don't know what their journey will be. Maybe they will share that with you. This is Patty and Elizabeth. I must have somehow put sound effects in. They're nice, so anyway, as long as I don't give myself a hand at the end. This is Patty and Elizabeth, and they're great teachers and mentors and friends. And Elizabeth had a beautiful death. Patty was a Jesuit monk for many years, and he left his teachings and brought his teachings to all of his friends. And when Elizabeth was dying, it was a beautiful situation. We had the opportunity for music and song and chanting Tibetan Gregorian chants and Tibetan prayers, and she had a lovely and amazing death. And this is Margot and her daughter, her son, and she too mimicked that kind of death. She had a beautiful, remarkable death where all of us stood around her bedside, her family, her children, and we sang and we chanted, and she left her body and left us all saddened, but really recognizing the true miracle that death can be. This is Harry. This is something that Harry said to me. Harry was a pancreatic cancer patient, and he was a first-time user of marijuana. Really amazing experience that he had with it. And he said that marijuana allowed him to experience a shift in consciousness, and he used those words. And he invited me to sit with them in the exquisiteness of the moment. Well, if you've ever sat in the exquisiteness of any moment, when you're invited in by somebody who is in this holy, holy, holy place, it is profound. So this is Harry. I hope it's not too dark to see. It's not. And that's his lovely wife, Barbara. And Harry was I'll tell you just a little bit about him. He was an engineer, and he had pancreatic cancer, so he lived a very short time, 3 months. And he had never tried marijuana. So when he did, he had all the benefit of that first time. So I realize I'm slowing on time here, but I just want to mention that what happens in WAMM is a kind of communion. It's a communion of the richness of our lives, the joy that that brings, and the element of suffering, and the change that that brings into our life, the comparisons. It is the richest and most remarkable group of heroes that I've ever seen. This team of members went and locked the DEA behind closed gates, locked them in, and bargained for our release. These are the kind of heroes that I get to work with. So when I stand here and speak to you about our work, it's not work that's been done alone. All of you have been part of it, and there are almost 200 people at home that have worked with us to bring this here, and 140 of our members have died, 23 since the raid. It's something that we live with, and it's also the greatest gift because it helps us to prepare for our own deaths and maybe to welcome her as a lover. So I have so much more that I could talk about, but I won't waste time and cross into somebody else's. I thank you very much for having the opportunity to speak with you, and I also thank my friends and comrades in this movement. Thanks.